Hey beautiful people, so here we are sitting on the ebb and flow, the tide of autumn equinox. Alongside that we have this new moon as well, so it felt a really poignant time to sit down with you all and share a moment or two as we journey that turn of the wheel once more. As the wheel turns, it gives us the opportunity to kind of reflect on the time before us, the season before us, and what a summer. I mean, it's been an incredible summer. One that I know that as I move more deeply into autumn, as I move more deeply into winter, I'm going to really be integrating and alchemizing and digesting. And I think that is the gift of autumn, the opportunity to spiral inward, digest, integrate. I was saying to a really dear friend, I was saying, I think over the summer I've spent more time out on the land than I have indoors. It's almost like as I begun to return at the stirrings of autumn, I almost felt as if I was turning full of wood smoke and starlight. That's exactly what it felt, as if I was returning home full of wood smoke and starlight after making the land the home for the summer. And that's been, a really profound experience, and being in community and around elders in the way that I have been is we never ever stop growing, we never ever stop learning. We are always unraveling that deeper layer of remembrance. But I think that's, the thing is, we move into autumn, we have this opportunity to really allow ourselves to soak up the experiences of the summer, and as that wheel turns, autumn is, the season of descending. Something that we done on our recent autumn equinox ritual that we gifted to our beautiful community is we spiraled into the center of the stone circle, where autumn, she invited us to take a wild wood card, a card that we was going to work with over the autumn and over the winter, allowing those messages to just seep out of that card and kind of inward and take hold within us, which feels a really, really beautiful journey within itself. So it is, autumn is the season of descending. It's descending yin, inward. The energy spirals inward, and it's a transition into the cool, dark and feminine energies of winter. It's a perfect time to kind of evaluate what has taken hold over the summer. Where are we? What energies have we alchemized? What energies have we grown? What energies may also have been depleted from the summer. Summer is a time ruled by, if we think about yin being inwards, summer is a time of yang. It's the energies of heat, and here in the UK, did we have some heat? It's a time of activity and socialization, a real time of community, and a time of movement, and for us, so much growth. I know that spending that time within community around those elders, being taught and unlocking another layer of remembrance has been really, really profound. We don't ever stop learning. I had some beautiful experiences around really understanding the medicine drum, and how I've always been drawn to the drum, and always feeling the resonance with a medicine drum, but never really knowing its truest potential until this summertime and being shown by those elders, which has been really, really profound. And knowing how to, use that drum as a medicine tool for others, using it as a medicine tool for myself, being able to use the drum to take those shamanic journeys. And I know a couple years ago, I felt a real kind of important pull to grab my drum and to place my handprint, my son's and my dad's handprint on that drum, moving around so the handprints spiral round in a circle. And I often find myself, when I connect with my drum, sitting there, my hand on the center of the drum over the handprint and just feeling my way into the drum. So I've always felt, the deep connection to a drum and what it could be used for, but now understanding a whole nother layer of what a drum could be used for. And this was 6 days of working in that way and so much more. So that's at the heart of some of the experiences over the summer. And as we move into the autumn, it does. It gives us the opportunity, as those temperatures drop and the days shorten, we observe a natural sense of slowing down. But the thing is, are we trying to keep up with the same busy schedule of our summer days, or are we allowing ourselves to slow down? Something I done this last few days, and as we move into autumn, something that I felt nudged to do last year, but this year not only did I acted on it. So last autumn I felt the nudge, the stirring. This autumn I felt the nudge, and then I acted on it, was to consciously transition the house from summer into autumn. So to restock on candles, taper candles, tea light candles, spell and magical candles, to restock on the lamp oil, to craft and weave some smudge bundles, to restock on Palo Santo, and then to restock on all the beans, pulses and grains, to kind of clean and clear the house, to reorganize the little humble apothecary that we have within our kitchen, getting our winter remedies crafted, woven and made, like the fire cider, also the rosehip syrup, to have that on the shelf, to make sure that we've got pine needles for pine needle tea, and making that fire cider, which is an absolute must winter remedy, on our shelf. And then to get all the preserves and all the canning, all the chutneys, all those things reorganized so they're at the heart of the pantry store cupboard, and then to clean the whole house, and get all those blankets, skins and furs out of the back of the cupboard, to clean them as well, and to really consciously move into autumn, because over the summer we've been out there. So as we return for autumn and winter, it's having that space that can really nourish and nurture you. We've pulled in the last harvest, so it's kind of organizing that little kitchen space, that pantry space for all the squashes and marrows, being able to make a beautiful marrow and butter bean stew, full of onion, chilies, garlic and ginger, all the things that we need as we move into autumn and winter. Drying some foraged mushrooms as well, so they can be dried and stored, and then rehydrated and used within soups and stews and such. All the things that we often just kind of tear through. It was a sense of moving into. So felt really amazing being able to do that and get the essential oils ready, and the tea light burner as well that infuses essential oils such as like orange oil. Orange oil burnt over the autumn and winter really does release all the good chemicals that we need. Orange oil is really beautiful, uplifting medicine during those darker days. So it's consciously moving into all those things, and making sure that we've got enough winter shampoo bars made and crafted, and then getting all the craft supplies out the back of the cupboard to be able to sit there over the autumn and winter. I'm going to craft some rattles and some drums. I'm going to craft some rattles and medicine tools. And I am, this coming weekend, that must have been where my mind was, this coming weekend I'm going to the medicine shed with a wonderful elder. Some of you may have known of her, a lady called Dory Joy, with my dad and some really close friends. And we're going to the medicine shed to craft a very own shamanic drum and birth it from scratch using raw materials. So really excited, really looking forward to that. So that's that whole thing, isn't it, where one layer begins and a little bit more reveals itself. So over the summer I really learned how to really use the drum as a medicine tool, and then I'm gifted the opportunity to be able to craft my very own. These things are never by chance, they are by design. So yeah, having those craft supplies to hand to make some medicine rattles, some wands, some staffs, over the winter feels a really lovely thing to do. And reorganize the books, so you can pull a book off a shelf and just kind of sit there and be so it is, are we allowing ourselves to slow down? Altering our rhythm is the gift of autumn. It's to allow space for that restoring and regenerative approach, restoration. We live in a bounce back society, we live in a bounce back culture. Is regenerative approach in there? Is restoration in there? Have we lost the art of being? It's really important this time of year to be able to kind of prevent a burnout that so many people experience come December. How many people do you know are really unwell during December, during Yuletide? How many people do you know who are poorly? And that's because we've not allowed ourselves to just slow down the cogs and the gears. This is especially beneficial in a society that is rooted in that bounce back culture, and one that is driven, absolutely driven by productivity and masculinity, and you've got to do more, and are you only working 14 hours a day? Surely you can do a few more hours. It's just like who hell thinks that is normal. How there is no thread of normality in that. And that being said, it's also be tempting to give in to the sluggish qualities of the cold. So it's kind of weaving in a balance, but because it is important to keep moving. And what comes to mind is those forest walks, returning with some soup, taking out a flask of hot chocolate. Cacao also comes to mind as a beautiful, powerful winter medicine. cacao infused with mugwort and rose. I know that, you know, I've alchemized, and I'll save that for another video, but more deeply, I've alchemized some beautiful, what I call Dreamweaver mugwort essence, that can be dropped in tea, that really does help with digestion, rest and digest, and you know, kind of really moves us into a dream and liminal restful place as we sleep. You know, a little bit of stretching and gentle Pilates. You know, I think that, you know, the other nugget that it gives us is to contemplate. You know, I find myself gazing out the windows in the morning as I now reconnect to the altar that sits by the weaver's chair, that was cleared and cleaned over the last few days as we alchemized and transitioned the house. We wove or rewove that altar, and, you know, placed the lovely little deities of Brigid and of Freya that were beautifully gifted to me. And yeah, you know, I often sit there and I find myself just gazing gently out the window. You know, it's that contemplation, time of contemplation, and also letting go. You know, within a recent community ritual, there was a beautiful medicine story that was shared, and some pine bark. You know, so this pine tree had shed its bark, and medicine story was my dear friend that I work with alongside on the Earth Journeys, Jo. She had gone into the forest some time back, you know, looking for some answers to take a shamanic journey, and come across this really beautiful pine tree, and all around it was this bark that had been shed, and she kind of leaned into the tree and kind of, like, you know, seek that guidance and that wisdom and knowledge. And the tree, the message that come was simply: shed what is no longer required and needed. Shed what is no longer required and needed. And that moment, very powerful message, really took hold. So, you know, Jo shared that medicine story within our community ritual, and then gave out the pine bark that had been shed and gifted to her from the tree, and invited everyone to, you know, consciously think about all those things that no longer are required or needed, what they could shed, and it was placed in the fire. You know, this is deep alchemy, this is deep magic, it's everything by association, you know. So as we slow down, we create more space for reflection, just as the trees let go of their leaves and their bark. Is there anything we feel ready to let go of? You know, autumn is a great time to evaluate our priorities and remind ourselves of our desires also, you know, and have our priorities changed. I know that when I kind of, you know, saw this year beginning to take hold, I was very aware that, you know, over the summer that I was going to be taken out there into community, and I could feel, you know, certain priorities shifting and changing, and they continue to shift and change, you know. So it's really good to lean in and just ask ourselves some of these questions. You know, what direction do we want our lives to take? And as we come to the end of the year, we kind of, you know, observe a natural desire for closure. I have some thought around the beginnings of the year, and, you know, again, a good friend's always stirred that up. You know, the beginning of the year is not the 1st of January. That's, you know, so unnatural. The beginning of the year is around spring equinox. So, you know, we can get this sense of the endings of the year, and I kind of feel that around Samhain, winter nights, All Hallowed Eve, and then you get this liminal time, this lingering around the end of the year, which kind of, you know, is held like a liminal gateway, a time in between time between Samhain, All Hallowed Eve, Winter's Nights, all the way through to Yule. And then Yule, when the sun begins to return, the light begins to return, you get the stirrings, but it's only the stirrings. Then the beginning of the new year comes, spring equinox. You know, our Gregorian calendar is really inverted and mucked up completely. It's so out of sync with our natural rhythm. So, you know, it is an ideal time for reflection, for journaling. You know, a few questions here that I'm going to throw up that you could contemplate. Are you content with the way things are? Are you content with the way things are? Are there obstacles in the way of your desires? What do you need to let go of? What are you making room for? What are you making room for? What needs to end for a new cycle to begin? Beautiful questions. Questions that I've worked with, questions that I've lent into, that I've got my teeth into. And then it's the sense of preparation, which is what I was saying about transitioning the house. You know, in releasing that which no longer serves us and contemplating our desires and our action, we're in the right mind to prepare for winter. You know, although the majority of us are not harvesting supplies to survive over the colder months, we can still make that preparation within our homes, as I was sharing earlier. But also, we can all benefit from harvesting positive energies for the winter. You know, what does preparation look like for you? I shared what we do. What does it look like for you? Journaling and reflection. You know, meditative walks are great to tap into that liminal and help you support this. You know, going for a walk on an autumn and winter's day across the forest when it's quieter can really support that. You know, many people feel a sense of melancholy this time of year, and you know, we can also witness old memories returning, and that, you know, is spiritual science for you, because we're going inwards. You know, so we're going inward and we're touching what's in there. We're going in, so we're touching those old memories, and they can surface. But what can those memories teach us? And through that deep reflection, we can find a balance as we prepare for the coming winter. You know, working with these principles as we move through the wheel, because they all have a different gift, has been such a gift to me, to stay centered in the changing season. You know, gone are the days of wishing it was summer still, as I sink to the natural rhythms of autumn. The turning of the wheel and the changing of the seasons are, you know, such a gift. They're an opportunity to tune into the wisdom of nature and the wisdom of our bodies, rather than clinging to the warmer days of summer and resisting the colder days ahead. We can use the cycle of nature as inspiration for our lives. Can we open up ourselves to the wisdom of autumn? I'm going to gently leave all that with you. I feel I really, over this summer, found a really beautiful way forward with what we're offering, what we're sharing, what we're doing. So you'll find that each turn of the wheel there's going to be some beautiful content here. You can also follow us over on Instagram, and we are nurturing a on and offline community which can be found, the seeds of which can be found via the website, which is www.shanegag.com. And if you then hit the Earth Journeys tab, you'll find what we're offering within our beautiful, humble community also as well. But in the meantime, I'm wishing you all so much love, and above all, keep shining.